This is Google Sheets, and I'm going to show you very quickly how to use Google Sheets to work with numbers and calculate your costs very quickly. So let's look at some of the data here. We can use things like autofill. So if I type in this cell here, we can type in the word Monday. And if we click back in the cell here again, in the bottom right hand corner is a blue square. If we click on that, we can drag across as many columns as we like, and it will do the dates for us. We can do the same thing if we go down a column, and across a row. This is the autofill feature, and Google Sheets recognizes patterns like this very easily. We can do the same thing with months. You have to enter first, obviously, and then click across, and you can see we've got the months. We can also do the same thing with number. So let's look at a number pattern, but you have to give it a number pattern that at least 3 of them. So let's do the 7 times table. You've got to give it 3 patterns first of all, 3 numbers in a row for it to recognize the pattern. Highlight all 3 cells and then click on the autofill box down here and drag down, and it's doing the 7 times table for you. So that's some of the key features of a Google Sheet. So what we can do now, if we have a look at this, enter some data. So I'll just pause this and I'll enter some data for you. Now I've entered some data here for 3 activities that a family might want to do on a trip to Auckland. So we've got a family of 2 adults and 2 children, and we've got prices off the website, these are all made up, saying that if you wanted to visit Kelly Tarleton's, it might be $32.30 for an adult. But we need to make them into currency. So the first thing we need to do is we just need to highlight all the cells that have got money in them, and we can turn it into currency. But we want to not format as pounds, so we can click up as format here, format to number, and we come to currency, and we want to do down to here New Zealand dollar. There we go, so we've got this in New Zealand dollars, and we can now see we've got these as figures. However, we want to start adding these things up. How much is it going to cost a family to go to Kelly Tarleton's? So we know there are 2 adults and there are 2 children. So if we just type in here adults and add here children, we can now work this out. So what we want to do here is make a formula that calculates this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a formula that multiplies this by 2 because there are 2 adults and we're going to have 2 children. So every formula in Google Sheets starts with an equal sign. So we're going to click on here and say equals this cell. Can you see how it's colouring? And we need to use the multiplication symbol, which in Google Sheets is the Shift and number 8 key, the asterisk. In this case, we want to type by 2. And so the cost here will be $64.60. So let's do this again. Click equals, click on the cell we want it to equal, Shift, 8, again 2 children, return, and so now it's made it $47.20. But just like I showed you before with the autofill, we only need to do it for 1 set of cells because 2 adults are going to do the bridge climb, 2 children are going to do the bridge climb. We can now use the autofill and it will copy those formulas down for the other figures. So now we have to look at the budget. So let's look at the total. So for the family to do this in Auckland, we now need to add the adults and the children figures together. So let's click on equals, and this time we can use a formula, and it's suggesting it for us now. Sum. We need to click on sum, but it's doing C2 to F2, which we don't want. So what we can do now is we actually want to go from E2. So you can format this, and we're going to say anything. So we can just either drag this, no, we won't drag it. We'll just change the letter in here from E2, and it's going to highlight the 2 cells we want to add together, E2 and F2, and press return. And so to go to Kelly Tarleton's, the family, it's going to cost them $111. So let's drag this down to here. There we go. And there's the total cost using autofill. So the total cost for the Auckland visit is going to be, for the activities alone, not the accommodation, is going to be, we're going to use that sum formula again. Click on equals. And this time we're going to, it tries to suggest E6. No, we want the G1, G2 to G4. That looks good. We can see the marching ants have highlighted the numbers we want to add together. Click, return. And so to do those 3 activities over a couple of days in Auckland is going to cost $485.